And we're also hearing for the first time from Julie Swetnick, Michael Avenatti's client, Judge Brett Kavanaugh's third accuser, speaking to John Heilman of Showtime.
Brett Kavanaugh is going for a seat where he's going to have that seat on the Supreme Court for the rest of his life. And if he's going to have that seat legitimately, all of these things should be investigated, because from what I experienced firsthand, I don't think he belongs on the Supreme Court.
And Michael Avenatti joins us right now. We just heard your client, Julie Swetnick, say she experienced things firsthand. Let's get this on the table. Did Mr. Kavanaugh sexually assault Ms. Swetnick or physically harm her in any way?
George, again, and I've answered this repeatedly over the last 24 hours, I'm going to answer it again. There is evidence suggesting to her that he was part of the gang rape that occurred that is detailed in paragraph 13. There's other evidence that suggests that he wasn't. It was a very difficult moment for her.
What is that evidence on both sides?
She was drugged. Wait, but let me finish, George. She was drugged. She was inebriated. She didn't know exactly what was happening to her. And those details will be shared with FBI agents or under oath before the committee. She will share that evidence and that information. But let's assume, for the sake of argument, that you delete that paragraph 13, which we would not. But let's assume that we did. All of the other conduct also is equally troubling and makes this man unqualified to be on the U.S. Supreme Court. But above all else, there should be an ample investigation, George. Why isn't the FBI involved?
Well, you say you could delete that paragraph 13. She also just said right there in that interview things she personally experienced. And that's some of your critics and her critics are saying, if these charges were so serious, why not go to the police? Why not go to authorities earlier?
Well, for the same reason that many sexual abuse or sexual assault victims don't go to the police earlier. It's a very common occurrence. I believe that John Carl asked that question yesterday of the president. I mean, this is not unusual. But the bottom line here is that the president and Brett Kavanaugh and his supporters, for some reason, they now don't want the FBI investigating this. They don't want the truth known. My client has offered to take a polygraph exam if Brett Kavanaugh does. Brett Kavanaugh refuses. My client has offered to testify in front of the Senate committee. Evidently, the Republicans don't want to hear from her. My client has demanded that Mark Judge be subpoenaed to testify. They won't subpoena Mark Judge. This is a search for the truth, George, and my client is telling the truth. And in my experience, women that are making false accusations don't ask to sit down with the FBI.
Yes, your client wants to come forward and testify publicly, would speak to the FBI. What the Senate Judiciary Committee majority is saying is that they first want to speak with her over the phone, take any evidence she has. Why not do that?
Well, for the same reason that Dr. Ford didn't do it, because this is a sham, what they're trying to pull. This is a sham investigation. It's no investigation at all. They want to get her on the phone and try to frame her answers so that they can tell you and others that somehow they did an investigation. That's ridiculous. That's why we have the FBI. The FBI is brought in to investigate the most heinous crimes on U.S. soil, 9/11, Timothy McVeigh, the list goes on and on. Why are they hiding all of this evidence from the FBI? Why won't they allow her to testify in front of the committee? All of these women, George, cannot be lying. Lindsey
Graham, another member of the committee, is raising another set of questions. He's saying of Ms. Swetnick, why continue to go to these parties, 10 of them, over a 2-year period after seeing and experiencing behavior like what she saw?
Well, first of all, George, she was aware that there was something going on in these back bedrooms, in these back rooms, but she wasn't exactly aware of what until after she was assaulted and she realized what had been going on, and she then started asking questions of other people about what had been going on in these back rooms. And these people corroborated. And there's numerous witnesses that observed it. Again, this is consistent with Dr. Ford's statement, which we just learned of last night. The particulars of that statement. It's consistent with other women that have come forward in the New Yorker and otherwise. And all of these women cannot be lying. It doesn't make any sense. They didn't all sit down in some secret meeting at a Starbucks somewhere and hatch this grand plan. They're not all lying. It's impossible.
Michael Avenatti, thanks for your time this morning. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.